Hello guys, how are you? Welcome. I hope you enjoy the class. So one of the most common things that we do in our everyday language is compare things. It may be comparing restaurants, it may be comparing candidates for a new job opportunity or a new job position, or comparing some films to see at the cinema. But how do we make comparative and superlative in English? That's why in this class, we will be covering comparative and superlative. We are going to learn what they are, how to use them properly, and we are going to learn some exceptions. So let's start. So let's start what comparative and superlative are, okay? First of all, we have the comparative. Okay, it said comparative adjective, but what adjective? What is an adjective? Okay, remember that in previous classes we study adjectives, okay? And remember that adjectives are when we are using some, we are trying to describe a noun. We are trying to describe an object or even a person, okay? So comparative adjectives are used to compare differences between two different objects, okay? They are used in sentence where two nouns are compared in this pattern. We usually use this pattern that you can see at the bottom of the screen. Like, first of all, we have a noun, then plus verb, plus comparative adjective, plus then, plus noun. That is the second object, okay? We can see it here in some examples. For example, my house is larger than hers. This box is smaller than the one I lost. Your dog runs faster than Jean's dog, okay? As you can see, those examples follow that rule. My house could be the first object. Then we have the verb, that is the verb to be is. Then larger, that is the comparative adjective. Then than, and then hers, that is the second object or the second noun. Okay, let's continue. Then we have the superlative form. Okay, the superlative adjective are used to describe an object, which is the upper or the lower limit of a quality. They are used in sentence where a subject is compared to a group of objects. That is the main differences between the comparative form and the superlative form. When you are using the comparative form, you are talking about two different objects, just two objects. It could be to people, it could be to animals. And the superlative form, on the other hand, is when you are comparing one object with the rest of a group. Okay, we have a group, and you are using the superlative form, and it has a pattern as well. We have the noun plus the verb plus the superlative adjective plus noun. That is the second object, okay? What is the difference between this pattern and the last one? As you can see in this one, we have then. And in this one, we have the, that is before the superlative adjective, okay? Here we have some example. My house is the largest one in the neighborhood. As you can see, my house is being compared with the whole neighborhood. That's why I say that in this one we use like a group, okay? My house is the first subject. Then we have the verb, that is that is the verb to be, the largest, that is the superlative adjective, and then in our neighborhood, that is the whole group, like the second object, okay? So guys, before continue, it's important that you remember that when you are using or trying to form irregular and comparative and superlative adjective or statements, you will remember some important rules, okay? That's important that you take that into considerations, okay? The first thing that you have to take into account is that the form depends on the number of syllables in the original adjective, okay? the number of syllables will be important. For example, one syllable adjectives. We have to, the first rules that it add ER for the comparative and EST for the superlative, okay? Then we have another rule. For example, let's see this first rule. For example, tall. Okay, as you can see, tall, we just add er at the end of the adjective to form the comparative. Then the superlative est. Instead of tall, we have taller. Instead of tall, we have tallest to the superlative form. Then we have that the second rule: if the adjective has a consonant plus a single vowel plus consonant spelling, the final consonant must be double before adding the ending. Okay, as you can see in this example, we have fact. That is, you have to double the T and then you add the ER. That is fat and fattest. That is the same rule. Just we change, instead of ER, we use EST at the end of the adjective to create the superlative form. Okay, let's continue. Then we have the two-syllable adjective. In this one, we have three different rules. The first one is, for adjective with two syllables, we generally use more or must. For example, careful, more careful to do the comparative form. And the superlative, most careful. Of course, remember to use the most careful and the most careful, okay? Then we have the second rule that it said that some two-syllable adjective can take ER or EST. It's also fine to use more for the comparative or must for the superlative, okay? For example, clever, we can use cleverer, or the superlative form, cleverest, okay? Okay, then we have the third one, that is adjective with two syllables that end in Y, usually can add ER or EST. It generally change to I. It's also fine to use more or must. For example, dear, dear, or dirtiest to this superlative form. Pretty, prettier, or prettiest. Okay, remember to change the Y, that because it's the ending of the adjective is Y, and change it for to ER in the comparative form and EST in the superlative form. Let's continue. Then we have three or more syllables. Okay, it said that adjective with three or more syllables form the comparative by putting more in front of the adjective and the superlative by putting most in front. Okay, remember the da when we are using the superlative. Here I have some example. For example, important. Okay, this adjective have more than two syllables, three or more syllables. Important. Okay, remember. To find the comparative, we add more important. We can't say like importanter, like add the ER at the end of the adjective, because it sounds weird and we are making a mistake, okay? Then we have the superlative form and this most important. For example, the most important thing in this class is that you learn the comparative and the superlative forms. I think that is a good example. Then we have expensive, more expensive, or most expensive, okay? So as in every rule, we have some exceptions. And in comparative and superlative, we have some irregular adjectives that that you have to remember. For example, these very common adjectives are completely irregular comparative and superlative form. We have good, bad, little, much, far, and okay, we have good, like the comparative form is better than the superlative best. Okay, for example, if I can say that, I don't know, my phone, I will be comparing my phone. My phone is better than yours. Okay, it means that this phone is I can say my phone is a good phone. Okay, and then we have the superlative form could be like this smartphone is the best smartphone in all the house, for example. Okay, where I'm comparing my cell phone with the whole with the cell phone of my whole family. Okay, and that's it. I think that you just need to study these exceptions in order to remember what is the correct irregular form of this comparative and superlative. Okay, so here I have some examples today. If the worst day I had in long time. Another one, you play tennis better than I do. This is the least expensive sweater in the store. Okay, so guys, we are at the end of this class, and now we are going to practice with a drawn activity. So let's start.